Would you consider the achievements of the Indians abroad, such as Indian origin big tech CEOs, political figures like Kamala Harris, as a contributing factor for increasing Indian influence and positions of power in international forums? Okay, so we know that Mr. Sundar Pichai is the boss of Google. Mr. Satya Nadella is the boss of Microsoft, and various other people are in positions of power. How does it further India's interests? Does it further India's interests? Let's go back to the map. This is the Google map, right? Google is run by Mr. Sundar Pichai. Let's go here to northern India. This is Aksai Chin, which is held by the Chinese, correct? Let me turn this off for a second. Let me click over here and see what it says. It says unavailable. It says that this region is disputed. Let's click here near Gilgit. It says unavailable. It doesn't say India. It says unavailable. Let's go to Srinagar and click here. It just gives some number. It doesn't say it's part of India. Right? Over here, let's try it. Again, some number. Let's go near Nepal. This is the India-Nepal boundary, yes. Let's click near the India-Nepal boundary over here. Okay, it says Uttar Pradesh here, sure, all right. There are places even near the India-Nepal boundary where it doesn't say India. Let's go here and see what happens. Let's click here. It says Nepal, even though it's on the Indian side of the border. Can you see this? It says India here, but if you click there, it says Nepal on the Indian side of the border, in Indian territory. So this is Mr. Sundar Pichai's Google. Does it seem to have increased India's influence anywhere? It hasn't. So when your people work for a foreign country and become foreign citizens, it doesn't really increase your influence unless you're like China and you use them as double agents and all that, right? So India doesn't play the geopolitical game. India doesn't use this as leverage. India has so many Indians in the US who work in the US and contribute to the US economy and contribute to the US national interest. China also has a number of Chinese citizens, great number of Chinese origin people in the US, and many of them work on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. They have become double agents. India simply doesn't play this game, right? I mean, India has much more leverage than China in the US. If you look at these people like Mr. Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, Indira Nui, Kamala Harris, who is now vice president, etc. Kamala Harris is very much anti-India, FYI, despite being of partial Indian origin. So it's all about how you play the game, whether you seek influence or not, whether you build influence networks or not. You have to influence. You have to invest in influence networks. You have to influence. You have to invest in power networks. You have to invest in people, and you have to play this game of influence. India simply doesn't play this game. India is not able to control people within its own borders, right? There are so many so-called anti-national elements in India who actually advocate the national interests of other countries. So India's government needs to, I don't know, change the way it plays the game, or start playing the geopolitical game, because there is so much that India can achieve by leveraging the prominent people and other non-prominent people that India has all across the world. You go to any country in the world, you'll find Indians there. Any country in the world, you'll find lots of Indians there, especially developed countries, Western countries, right? India, I mean, Australia, New Zealand, the Western world, anywhere, you're going to run into Indians anywhere on the street if you go there, any country. If you go to London, it feels like you're in India, essentially, right? There are so many Indians there. And the same goes for New York and all the major cities in the US. So India should learn how to leverage this opportunity that it has, right? The same way the Chinese do, the same way the Israelis do across the world. So there's a great deal that India can quickly achieve if it were to leverage that. Right now, all that happens is that these people, they serve the national interests of the countries they live in. That's all. So as you can see with Google, despite Google's boss being an Indian, or at least of Indian origin, it essentially goes against India's national interest and shows Indian territory as part of Nepal or as disputed territory, right? It's just one example of many. So as of now, it doesn't really help India in any way whatsoever.